Emily had always believed she and Jake shared the perfect love story. He was everything she had ever wanted. Kind, funny, and incredibly intelligent. His presence brought warmth and joy into her life, a steady comfort she had come to cherish. Their love felt unwavering, strong enough to withstand anything. Jake's job at a prestigious company often demanded long hours and frequent travel. Though Emily missed him terribly when he was away, she never doubted him, never questioned his loyalty. Trust had always been the foundation of their relationship, until the day everything changed. That afternoon, her phone rang, and Olivia's name flashed across the screen. Emily answered with a smile, but the tone of her best friend's voice quickly wiped it away. There was an unfamiliar weight in Olivia's words, a hesitation that made Emily's heart tighten. "Emily, I need to talk to you," Olivia said softly. A sudden unease settled over her. "What is it?" she asked, gripping the phone a little tighter. A deep breath came from the other end of the line. "I saw Jake yesterday," Olivia admitted. "He was at a cafe with another woman." The world around Emily seemed to blur. A sharp, cold sensation spread through her chest. "Are you sure it was him?" she whispered, clinging to the hope that Olivia had somehow made a mistake. "Yes, Emily, it was him," Olivia confirmed. He was holding her hand. They looked close. The air seemed to leave her lungs. Emily sat frozen, phone still pressed against her ear, but her mind was a storm of emotions: fear, confusion, heartbreak. After the call ended, she sank onto her bed, staring blankly at the wall. She wanted to cry, to scream, to demand an explanation, but another part of her refused to believe it. There had to be some other reason, some misunderstanding. That night, when Jake finally came home, he greeted her as he always did, his usual warm smile, his voice easy and familiar. But to Emily, everything felt different. There was a weight in her chest, an ache that hadn't been there before. Taking a shaky breath, she looked at him, searching his face. "Jake, I need to ask you something." His smile faltered just slightly. "What is it?" he asked, his voice steady, but his eyes unreadable. She swallowed hard. "Were you at a cafe with another woman?" A silence stretched between them, thick and heavy. His expression shifted. Something flickered in his gaze before he finally looked away, his shoulders slumping just slightly. "Yes," he admitted, his voice quiet. It felt as if the ground had been pulled from beneath her. Emily's hands trembled as she tried to steady herself. "Why, Jake?" Her voice was barely a whisper, but the pain in it was undeniable. "Why would you do this to me?" He said her name softly, as if that could lessen the hurt, but nothing could. Because in that moment, the love she had believed in, the trust she had never questioned, had been shattered. Jake hesitated before speaking, his eyes filled with something unspoken, guilt, regret, maybe even shame. "I made a mistake, Emily," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "I met her at work. We talked, and I liked her, but I still care about you." His words shattered whatever fragile hope I had left. My breath caught in my throat, my chest tightening as if something inside me was breaking apart. "If you care about me, then why?" My voice wavered, my eyes burning with unshed tears. "Why did you meet her like that?" Jake let out a heavy sigh, running a hand through his hair. "I don't know." I was confused. A bitter laugh almost escaped my lips. Confused. That single word felt like an insult to everything we had built together. I couldn't take it anymore. Without another word, I turned and walked away, shutting the door to my room behind me. As soon as I was alone, the tears fell freely. My heart ached in a way I had never known before, a dull, endless pain that refused to ease. For days, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Every moment of that conversation replayed in my mind on an endless loop. The way he hesitated, the way his shoulders slumped under the weight of his confession, the way he said he still cared. Like that was supposed to fix anything. I had always believed in our love, in Jake, in us. But now, everything felt like a lie, and I had no idea what to do next. I thought about the laughter we had shared, the late-night talks, the promises whispered in the dark. Had it all been real, or had I been holding on to a version of Jake that no longer existed? I wanted to believe in the love we once had, but trust, once broken, is not so easily repaired. One evening, Jake approached me, his expression weighed down by regret. His voice was raw when he spoke. "Emily, I am so sorry," he said. "I know I hurt you. I made a terrible mistake." I searched his face, hoping to find sincerity, something to hold on to. But my heart was still aching, the wound still fresh. "Jake, I need time to think," I said softly. For the next week, I sought clarity. I confided in Olivia, poured my thoughts onto the pages of my journal, and spent countless hours reflecting. Could I ever trust him again? Would I ever feel truly happy with him? Was love enough to erase betrayal? Then one day, the answer came to me with startling clarity. I called Jake and asked him to meet me at the park. The air was crisp, the sky painted in soft hues of gold and lavender as the sun dipped below the horizon. When he arrived, he looked at me with hope in his eyes, but I had already made my choice. Taking a deep breath, I met his gaze. "Jake, I love you," I said, my voice steady, "but I can't stay in this relationship." His face fell, sadness clouding his features. "Emily, I deserve someone who respects me," I continued, my heart pounding. "Someone who chooses me and only me." He swallowed hard, his jaw tightening as he nodded. "I understand," he whispered. "I am so sorry for everything." Tears blurred my vision as I turned and walked away. My heart ached, but there was also a strange sense of relief, a quiet strength rising within me. It was the hardest decision I had ever made, but deep down, I knew it was the right one. Now, I am learning to love myself again. I spend time with my friends, explore new interests, and embrace the unknown. Life isn't always easy, but for the first time in a long time, I am choosing my own happiness. I have stopped asking what if and started asking what's next. Because life isn't about holding on to what hurts. It's about embracing what heals. Through painting, I have discovered something new about myself. I am stronger than I ever realized. And this is only the beginning. I am stronger than I ever thought possible. I have learned that even from pain, I can create something beautiful. I can move forward, even when the path ahead feels uncertain. Not long ago, I met someone new. His name is Daniel. We met in the library of all places, an unremarkable moment that would later mean so much more. He was searching for a book, and in my usual distracted way, I accidentally bumped into him. I laughed nervously, and when I looked up, he was smiling. It wasn't love at first sight, but there was something about him, something warm and genuine, something safe. At first, I kept my distance. I had built walls around my heart, afraid of letting anyone get too close, afraid of feeling that kind of hurt again. But Daniel was patient. He never rushed me, never pushed for more than I was ready to give. He simply showed up, time and time again, reminding me what it felt like to trust, to laugh without fear, to feel light instead of heavy. It's still new, still fragile in its own way. But for the first time in a long time, I feel hopeful. What happened with Jake changed me forever, but it didn't break me. If anything, it made me stronger. It taught me what I deserve and what I will never settle for again. Sometimes, I think about the other woman. I wonder if she knew about me, or if she was just as blind as I had been. But I don't hold anger in my heart anymore. I realize that carrying that anger only hurt me, weighed me down in ways I didn't even realize. Letting it go was one of the best decisions I ever made, because now I am truly free. I wake up every morning with gratitude, grateful for the lessons I've learned, for the love I have found within myself, for the way life always brings new beginnings when we least expect them. If I could go back and speak to the version of myself from a year ago, the girl who sat on the floor crying, feeling lost, wondering if she would ever feel whole again. I would tell her this: "You are stronger than you think. This pain will pass. And one day, you will smile again, not because someone else makes you happy, but because you have found happiness within yourself." And now, I do smile. Not every day is perfect, but I have learned to see the beauty in the small things. A sunny morning, the pages of a good book, a kind word from a stranger. Jake was a chapter in my life, but he wasn't the whole story. My story is still being written, and for the first time in a long time, I am excited to see where it goes next. Losing him wasn't the end of my happiness. It was the beginning of finding myself. And that, I believe, is the greatest gift of all.